Welcome to our Sunday leaf lesson. I'm Emily.
And I'm Miss Juan.
And I'm going to let Miss Juan take it away. So I'm going to flip it around and let her start our winter farm tour.
Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well and being safe. Miss Emily and I are going to team up today, and we're going to discuss putting the farm to bed. Now, we have a beautiful day here today, but the weatherman is saying that tomorrow we're going to get a little bit of snow and a little bit of rain. And guys, temperature's going to drop down to like from 30 degrees, from 60 degrees to 30-something degrees. But that's okay. Now, when it turns cold, have you ever thought about what happens in the garden? What happens to the crops? So that's why the theme today is putting the farm to bed. So I'm going to tell you what happens, and so with Miss Emily. Now, we're going to move over here a little bit, and we're going to take a quick view of the farm. Everything looks kind of sparse, and that's because it's wintertime, so crops are not growing, right? You can see the hay and the straw and everything. Now, listen, when it's cold, everybody likes to have a nice warm blanket. I know I do. And so does the garden. So what we do is we put the beds to rest. Now, how do the farmers do that? I'm gonna tell you. What they do is that they dig up all the weeds and the crops that are left over that haven't been harvested. And then what they do is pour hay and compost over the rows. We have a compost bin over here. And the compost is all organic, and so is the hay. So what they do is they pour the compost and the hay over the rows. The purpose of the compost is to feed nutrients into the soil for the crops. And the purpose of the hay is keep the soil from running off when it rains. Okay? And we'll move over here a little bit more. Also, underneath the rows in the soil, we have good insects, we have good bacteria that also, they kind of make a home there. And they also nourish the soil to get ready for the spring crops. All right? I think that's interesting. Now, what's better than that? I mean, that's a nice warm blanket to me. Don't you think? Now, not all of the rows are prepared the same. For instance, where I'm standing now, we have onions in this row. In the other row, we have garlic. Now, around the first week of November, after the first frost, the farmers will plant the garlic and the onions. And you can still see that they're kind of blossoming here. And they put the straw on there to keep what? The ground from freezing. And you probably will see the pop-ups of the garlic greens and the green onions, probably even when it snows, if you come by the farm. It keeps it very warm. And what's better than a recipe of garlic and onions? I think that's yummy.
All right. So along with the beds that still have the garlic and onion, behind me you can see we have some empty beds with their nice blanket that Miss Juan was talking about. But we also have some beds that are growing what we call overwintered crops. It's kind of like the garlic and onion, but we can grow a lot more things. The important part of an overwintered crop is that our farmers planted it soon enough that it got kind of big and healthy. It got big and healthy before the days got too short and the temperatures got too cold. And then that allows it to stay in the ground over the winter. It won't grow a lot bigger because of, again, those cold temperatures and those short days, but it'll stay healthy and alive in the soil. And then to actually keep them even more healthy, we put freeze cloth on. So let me show you what those look like. So when you walk by the farm and you see these beds lined with this white fabric, that's our freeze cloth. That's again going to help protect the soil from getting too cold, and it's going to keep those overwintered crops. Not every crop can do this, but some of them can. Things like kale, spinach, some kinds of salad greens, carrots, beets, broccoli, cabbage. What we have here is, we would keep this all the way covered and wrapped up, and we'll put the cover back on when we finish showing you. But I pulled back the cover so I could show you this lettuce. Look how beautiful that looks. And by protecting it under this freeze cloth, it can stay in the ground all winter and then be harvested in early spring, way sooner than you could get lettuce that you planted in the spring. I'm also going to show you another one where we pulled back. Here you can see some lettuce growing not under the freeze cloth. That'll also last a while, but maybe it won't last into as cold temperatures as the one with the cloth. But this one here, I pulled back the cloth, and we've got some kale as well. So even though the farm looks very sparse and very brown, underneath, hiding under these freeze cloths, we've still got some beautiful green vegetables. So we've got our kale, we've got our lettuce over there, we still got some lettuce here. So those green bushy things down there, those are our parsley. And over here in this other freeze cloth, we've got carrots and some other things growing. I also wanted to show you our medicinal herb garden, which is on this side of our main path. So a lot of the plants that grow in the medicinal herb garden, they are what are called perennials. That means they either survive through the winter or they come back in the spring. You don't have to replant them. So a lot of these herbs are still growing, still looking green. We've even got some beautiful yellow flowers over here from calendula. And so these plants won't necessarily look green all winter, and they definitely don't look as vibrant and tall as our medicinal herb garden does in the summer months, but it has its own growing cycle. And, you know, we have to take care of it, but we don't have to replant it every year, which is kind of a cool thing about the herb gardens. A different special thing about those plants. Now we're spanning over here right next to the herb garden is our youth garden, and Miss Juan's going to tell you about how that got put to bed.
Hi guys, we're back. Now you can see that the youth garden, same process. Compost and get the straw. Now here at the youth garden, we planted tomatoes, lettuce, zucchini, and I think over here we had zucchini and radishes. And our pride and joy, all our vegetables are pride and joy, but we had what? We had the corn growing here. And Miss Emily took the corn stalks off with the kernels and reserved them. And I think it was maybe like 2 weeks ago, some of you remember, we had a popcorn class. We had so much fun. And you guys had such great ideas how to spruce up popcorn to make it taste like more gourmet. And it's basically your recipe. So we're looking forward to this next spring, no doubt. And I can't wait to eat some of this lettuce, onions, garlic, everything. Kale.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
show you the whole farm again from this angle. Oh, another cool thing about where the corn was growing is that when we took down the corn stalks, we actually mixed that in with the straw. And it's going to do the same thing. Yeah, so Miss Juan's got our corn stalk.
Look how
and
tall it was.
Look how tall it was. And it's there in the straw, and it's doing the same job. It's all organic, and it's creating a mulch space to protect the ground. But yeah, look at that stalk.
Isn't that nice? Taller than I am. All right.
All right. Now let's, thank you. All right, now I'm gonna walk us over to the orchard. So our orchard is on the other side of the farm, and it is also looking really different in the winter months, right? In the summer, the leaves are on the trees, and it creates all this shade and all this space, and you can't even see over to the street that well. But now that it's winter, our trees have pretty much lost their leaves. Our peach trees, our fig trees, they're all just, hanging out. You get to see the real shape of the branches. As we talked about in my lesson about leaves changing for the fall, all of the trees drop their leaves so that they can protect themselves and seal in all of their energy and all of their nutrients and all of their food into the trunk for the winter. That's what allows them to sort of make it through the cold temperatures and be ready to make those leaves and buds in the springtime. We also, over on the other side, have our compost bins that you can see, the three bin system. Compost still happens in the winter, so we don't have to change too much about that, but it does happen a lot slower. Because the temperatures outside are cold, the whole process of compost is a little bit slower. When the food decomposes, it makes its own heat, but if it's hot outside, that will help it get hotter faster. So the cold temperatures outside mean that it's a little bit of a slower process, but we are still making nice, healthy soil compost that we can use next year.
Emily, can you show them just a little quick piece of the flower that's still growing?
Yeah.
Even though it's cold, isn't it beautiful?
It is beautiful. We do still have, over here in the kitchen herb garden, along with that beautiful flower that we wanted to show off, we've got our rosemary, big, bushy, healthy plant that'll stay alive through the winter as well. A lot of herbs can manage the cold temperatures, and you can still grow them and harvest them, at least for much of the winter, and then a lot of them will also come back in the springtime. So that's our winter farm tour. Let me get Miss Juan in here too.
Yeah, guys, don't forget to join us for the Zoom class. We have something very nice and delicious for you.
Yeah.
For Wednesday, okay? See you then.
Yeah, thanks for coming, and we'll be back for our last Instagram lesson of the year next Sunday with a cooking demo. So catch us then as well. All right, thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.